Welcome, seekers of understanding, to a journey within. We stand at the edge of a profound realization. Have you ever felt a subtle unease, a gnawing sense of being adrift? It's a feeling of struggling against an unseen current, isn't it? As if life itself is a series of obstacles demanding constant effort. Perhaps you sense a fundamental disconnect, a separation from everything around you. This feeling, this deep-seated intuition of being an isolated ego, is incredibly common. We live in a world that often reinforces this very notion. We are taught to achieve, to compete, to define ourselves by what we possess. This societal conditioning, while seemingly benign, can inadvertently foster a sense of individual struggle. We build walls, both metaphorically and literally, to protect our perceived selves. But what if these walls are, in essence, an illusion? What if the very act of trying to control life actually separates us from its true nature? Consider the immense pressure we place upon ourselves daily, the relentless pursuit of happiness, often just out of reach, the constant striving for more, never quite enough. This internal dialogue of lack and striving can be exhausting, can't it? It can leave us feeling perpetually unfulfilled despite our best efforts. This relentless striving is often rooted in a misperception. We tend to view ourselves as distinct entities, battling an external world, but look closely at the world around you, at the natural world. Do you see the rivers struggling upstream? Do the trees strain to bear their fruit? No, they simply flow, they simply grow in perfect harmony. There's a profound lesson hidden in this observation, a wisdom that has been whispered through ages. It speaks of an underlying flow, an interdependent nature that binds everything. This concept, often called the Tao or Suchness, isn't some abstract philosophical construct, it's the very fabric of reality itself. Imagine a single wave in the ocean believing it is separate from the vast sea. It rises, it falls, it crashes, all the while thinking it is an independent entity. Yet it is entirely, fundamentally, water. It is the ocean expressing itself as a wave. Similarly, we as individuals are not separate from the totality of existence. We are not isolated fragments, but rather intricate expressions of this boundless flowing reality. The feeling of being an isolated ego struggling against life is a direct result of this fundamental misperception. It's like trying to hold water in your hand. The tighter you grasp, the more it slips away. When we attempt to impose our rigid wills upon the fluid nature of reality, we inevitably encounter resistance. This resistance isn't life fighting back, it's simply the natural consequence of trying to force a square peg into a round hole. This deep sense of disconnection, this perceived battle, gives rise to much of our suffering. It fuels anxiety, fear, and a pervasive sense of loneliness. We feel as though we are on our own, responsible for every outcome, every struggle. But what if the very act of releasing this grip, of surrendering to the inherent flow, could liberate us? What if the path to true contentment lay not in striving, but in alignment? The wisdom traditions, particularly Zen, have long pointed towards this profound truth. They don't advocate for passivity or inaction. Rather, they encourage a different kind of engagement, one born from understanding the illusory nature of separation. It's about participating in the dance of life with grace and responsiveness, rather than trying to choreograph every step from a place of fear. This is not about becoming a doormat for life's challenges. It's about recognizing that challenges are not external aggressors, but often manifestations of our own resistance. When we perceive ourselves as separate, every setback feels personal, every difficulty an attack. But when we understand our interconnectedness, challenges can become opportunities for deeper engagement, for learning, for growth. They are simply part of the unfolding of Suchness. This introduction is an invitation to explore this profound shift in perspective, to question the deeply ingrained assumptions about who you are and how the world works. To begin to feel, truly feel, your connection to everything. To move beyond the ceaseless struggle and into a state of harmonious, non-resistant engagement. It's a path towards a more peaceful, more fulfilling existence, not by changing the world, but by changing your perception of it. This journey asks for a willingness to look inward, to observe your own thoughts and reactions. It asks for a gentle curiosity about the nature of reality. Are you ready to embark on this exploration? To uncover the true meaning of the way of Zen within yourself? This is not a quick fix, but a profound reorientation. A return to your natural state of being, where you are not a separate ego, but a flowing part of the grand symphony of existence. Let's begin this exploration together, gently peeling back the layers of illusion. Have you ever paused to truly observe the world around you? Not just glance, but truly see its intricate dance. We often perceive a world of separate objects, a chair, a table, a lamp. Our minds, trained to categorize and label, create these distinctions. But what if these clear boundaries are more a product of our perception than the reality itself? This is a profound question, central to understanding our place in existence. Consider a river ceaselessly flowing towards the sea. Do you see individual drops of water maintaining their distinct identities? No, they merge, they swirl, they become an inseparable part of the larger current. Yet, we, as human beings, often cling to the idea of our own distinctness, our separate ego. We believe we are independent entities, capable of carving our own path, entirely distinct from the vast ocean of being. This deep-seated belief in separation is a powerful illusion. It's an inherited way of seeing the world, reinforced by language itself. We use words like I and you, this and that, creating mental divisions where none truly exist in the underlying reality. This linguistic habit, while practical for daily navigation, subtly shapes our experience. It fosters a feeling of being an isolated unit, a lone warrior in a vast, indifferent cosmos. But is this truly the nature of things? Or is it a fundamental misunderstanding of how reality operates? Imagine trying to define the exact moment a wave ceases to be water and becomes wave. It's impossible, isn't it? The wave is simply water expressing itself in a particular form. In the same way, we are not separate from the flow of existence. We are that flow expressing itself. Our individual lives are like eddies within a grand, continuous current. This concept, often referred to as the Tao or Suchness, highlights the interdependent nature of reality. Everything is inextricably linked, arising in relation to everything else. The breath you just took wasn't solely yours. It was a continuation of the air, the plants, the entire atmosphere. Your very existence depends on countless interconnected processes, from the sun's energy to the intricate workings of your own body. Yet we often experience life as a constant struggle, a battle against external forces. We feel as though we must exert tremendous effort to achieve our goals, to overcome obstacles. This sensation of resistance stems directly from our perceived separation. If you believe you are separate from the current, then swimming against it feels like a monumental task. But what if you could simply surrender to the current and still move with purpose? The feeling of being a distinct ego, separate and struggling, leads to an immense amount of anxiety and suffering. We constantly worry about what might happen, about controlling outcomes, about protecting our vulnerable self. This mental acrobatics consumes vast amounts of energy, leaving us feeling drained and disconnected. It's a continuous internal monologue of fear and striving. But Zen, and indeed many other wisdom traditions, offers a profound alternative. It doesn't ask you to abandon your individuality. Rather, it invites you to recognize the illusory nature of that separation. It encourages you to see that your individuality is not a fixed, independent entity, but a unique expression of the larger flow. It's like a single note in a symphony. It has its own distinct sound, yet it only makes sense within the context of the entire piece. This understanding allows for a shift from resistance to harmonious, non-resistant engagement. When you recognize your interconnectedness, the world no longer appears as an adversary. Challenges become less about conquering and more about responding with adaptability. It's like a skilled sailor navigating a storm. They don't fight the wind, they use it. They work with the forces at play rather than against them. Think about moments of pure joy or deep absorption, perhaps when you're completely immersed in a creative pursuit or lost in the beauty of nature. In those moments, the sense of a separate you often dissolves. You are simply one with the experience. This fleeting glimpse is a taste of what it means to be in alignment with suchness, to be fully engaged without the burden of ego. The journey toward this understanding is not about intellectual ascent alone. It's about a fundamental reorientation of your perception. It's about cultivating a felt sense of this interdependent reality. It involves gently letting go of the need to control, to categorize, to rigidly define yourself. It's about opening yourself to the spontaneous, unfolding nature of existence. This process can be profoundly liberating. Imagine shedding the heavy armor of your separate ego, the constant need to defend and protect. What remains is a sense of effortless being, a lightness that comes from realizing you are already part of something infinitely vast and intelligent. You are not alone. You are the universe expressing itself uniquely as you. This realization doesn't mean becoming passive or losing your drive. On the contrary, when you act from a place of connection, your actions become more potent, more aligned. You are no longer pushing against the current, but moving with its power. Your creativity flows more freely, your compassion deepens, and your engagement with life becomes richer and more meaningful. This is the essence of the way of Zen, a path not of acquisition, but of recognition. It's about seeing what has always been true, but was obscured by the illusion of separation. It's about experiencing yourself not as a lonely island, but as an integral part of the flowing, boundless ocean. It's a profound shift that transforms your entire experience of life, from struggle to effortless engagement. Do you ever feel caught in a relentless cycle of self-improvement, forever chasing a better version of yourself? It's a common modern predicament, isn't it? We're constantly told to be more, do more, achieve more. This relentless pursuit, while seemingly productive, often springs from a subtle yet profound misconception. It originates from the feeling that our current self is somehow incomplete, imperfect, or lacking. This sensation of inadequacy is deeply tied to our perception of ourselves as separate entities. If you believe you are a distinct, independent ego, then it naturally follows that you must work to improve, to perfect, to control this isolated self. We create mental models of who we should be and then tirelessly strive to fit into those molds. This leads to a constant internal critique, a subtle war against our own being. But what if this incessant striving is actually pushing you further away from contentment? Imagine a sculptor constantly chipping away at their work, but never feeling satisfied. They keep adding, subtracting, always seeking an elusive perfection. This is often how we approach our lives, isn't it? The pursuit of a better self becomes an endless, exhausting race with no finish line. This constant striving to be a better me assumes a fundamental flaw in your current state. It implies that your present being is somehow insufficient. This is where the wisdom of the Tao offers a radical shift in perspective. It suggests that you are, in your essence, already complete, already whole. There's nothing to add, nothing to subtract. You are simply a unique expression of the unfolding flow of existence. The feeling of being a struggling ego comes from this very attempt to resist or reshape this inherent completeness. It's like trying to make a river flow uphill. The river is perfect in its downward flow. Similarly, when we resist our natural inclination to simply be, we create internal friction, a sense of dis-ease. This resistance manifests as anxiety, frustration, and the perpetual feeling of not being enough. Think about a musician deeply absorbed in playing. Are they consciously striving to be a better musician in that very moment? No, they are simply playing, becoming one with the music. Their actions flow effortlessly from their connection to the present moment, to the suchness of the experience. This is a glimpse of what it means to operate from a place of non-resistance. The practice in Zen is not about perfecting the ego, but about dissolving its rigid boundaries. It's about recognizing that the self you're trying so hard to improve is largely a mental construct. When you let go of the need to constantly define and refine this constructed self, a tremendous sense of liberation arises. You begin to experience yourself as part of a larger, interconnected whole, rather than a separate unit. This doesn't mean abandoning personal growth or responsibility. On the contrary, when you act from a place of alignment with the flowing, interdependent nature of reality, your actions become more authentic, more effective. You're no longer driven by fear or the need to prove something. Instead, your actions arise naturally, spontaneously, in response to the moment. It's an effortless effort, a striving that isn't rooted in struggle. Consider a tree. Does it strive to be a better tree? No, it simply grows in perfect alignment with its nature and its environment. It embodies suchness. Its growth is an unfolding, not a striving. Similarly, when we release the grip of the separate ego, our own lives can unfold with greater ease and grace. Our actions become less about forcing outcomes and more about participating in the natural rhythm of existence. This shift from struggling ego to harmonious engagement is a profound transformation. It's about recognizing that the universe isn't a problem to be solved, but a dance to be joined. And you, in your unique expression, are already a perfect dancer within this cosmic rhythm. The feeling of being disconnected from the natural flow is simply a sign that we've forgotten our steps, that we're trying to lead when we could simply follow. The path here is not about doing more, but about being more attuned. It's about listening to the quiet wisdom of your own interconnectedness. It involves a gentle surrender, a letting go of the need to control every outcome. This isn't about becoming passive, it's about becoming truly present, truly responsive. It's about realizing that the struggle you feel is often self-imposed, a consequence of battling an illusory boundary. So how do we begin to cultivate this state of being? It starts with mindful awareness, noticing when you feel that internal resistance, that urge to control or to strive against yourself. It's about observing these patterns without judgment, simply acknowledging them. Through this gentle observation, the rigid boundaries of the separate ego begin to soften. This journey is about realizing that the beauty of life lies not in forcing its direction, but in moving with its currents. It's about discovering that you are not a solitary boat battling the waves, but intimately, inextricably part of the ocean itself. This recognition reveals the illusory nature of separation and unlocks a deeper, more profound sense of peace and belonging. It's the way of Zen in action, a path to effortless being. Have you ever found yourself in a seemingly endless loop of trying to fix things? Whether it's a personal flaw, a challenging relationship, or a difficult circumstance, our instinct is often to analyze, strategize, and exert control. This approach, while well-intentioned, can paradoxically deepen the very struggles we wish to overcome. It stems from a deeply ingrained habit, seeing ourselves as separate from the world and thus responsible for manipulating it to our will. This constant striving to control, to impose our individual desires upon life, creates tremendous friction. Imagine trying to force a river to change its course by pushing individual drops of water. It's futile, isn't it? The river flows according to its own nature, its own suchness. Similarly, when we attempt to rigidly control the unfolding flow of existence, we inevitably meet resistance, not because life is adversarial, but because we're working against its intrinsic pattern. This perceived struggle, this feeling of battling against the current, is a hallmark of the disconnected ego. We believe that by sheer force of will we can bend reality to our preferences. This leads to a constant state of tension, a mental posture of pushing and pulling. Do you recognize this feeling in your own life? That subtle tightness in your shoulders, the relentless mental chatter, the feeling of never quite being able to relax. This is where the profound insights of Zen offer a radically different path. It's not about giving up, but about a different kind of engagement. It's about recognizing the illusory nature of separation and understanding that the struggle itself is often a byproduct of this illusion. When we see ourselves as distinct entities, fighting for survival in a vast, indifferent world, every challenge becomes a personal affront, every setback a testament to our inadequacy. But what if challenges are simply part of the interdependent nature of reality? What if they are not external aggressors but integral components of the grand design? Consider a plant growing through concrete. It doesn't fight the concrete, it finds the path of least resistance. It flows around it, adapting and unfolding. It doesn't struggle, it simply is and becomes. This is the essence of harmonious, non-resistant engagement. This shift in perspective is incredibly liberating. When you stop perceiving yourself as a separate, struggling ego, the need to control everything begins to dissipate. You realize that you are already part of a vast, intelligent process. Your actions become less about forcing outcomes and more about responding with awareness and spontaneity. It's like a skilled dancer who doesn't try to dictate every move of their partner, but rather flows with the rhythm, responding to every subtle shift. This concept isn't about becoming passive or losing your ambition. It's about channeling your energy more effectively with less friction. When you align with the flow of suchness, your efforts become more potent. You are no longer pushing a boulder uphill, you are moving with the natural inclination of gravity. This is not inaction, it is effortless action, where your intentions are aligned with the deeper currents of existence. Think of an expert craftsman. They don't wrestle with their materials, they understand their properties and work with them. The wood yields to the chisel, the metal to the hammer, not through brute force, but through a deep understanding of its nature. Similarly, when we understand the flowing, interdependent nature of reality, we can interact with life with greater skill and less struggle. This understanding allows us to reveal the illusory nature of separation. The idea that I am distinct from life or the world is a deeply ingrained habit of thought. But when you truly observe, you find that this separation is a mental construct. You breathe the air that plants produce. Your body is composed of the same elements as the stars. You are not separate, you are profoundly interconnected. This profound realization has practical implications for your daily life. When challenges arise, instead of immediately falling into the pattern of resistance and struggle, you can pause. You can ask yourself, am I trying to force something that isn't ready to be forced? Am I fighting an illusion? This moment of self-awareness creates space for a different response, one that is more aligned with the natural flow. This is not a sudden epiphany, but a gradual unfolding. It's a continuous practice of gently letting go of the need to control, of observing the mind's tendency to create separation. The path of the way of Zen invites you to soften your grip, to trust in the inherent intelligence of life itself. It's about recognizing that you are not just a passenger, but an integral part of the vehicle, moving effortlessly with the journey. So how can you begin to cultivate this non-resistant engagement? Start by noticing where you feel tension, physically and mentally. Is it a struggle to get through your day? Is it a constant battle against your own thoughts? Simply observing these patterns without judgment is the first step. This gentle observation allows you to begin to release the illusory nature of separation and embrace the effortless flow of suchness. How often do we find ourselves striving for an elusive sense of peace, a feeling of being truly content? We might pursue external achievements, accumulate possessions, or seek validation from others, hoping these things will finally bring us lasting tranquility. Yet despite our efforts, the feeling of unease, of something fundamentally missing, often persists. This relentless pursuit, this feeling of perpetual striving, is a direct symptom of believing we are a separate ego, battling against the vastness of life. Consider the immense energy we expend in this struggle. We push, we pull, we resist, always trying to control the uncontrollable. This constant effort drains us, leaving us feeling exhausted and perpetually unfulfilled. It's like trying to hold on to water in your cupped hands. The tighter you grasp, the more it slips away. The very act of trying to force happiness often pushes it further out of reach. But what if the path to true contentment lies not in grasping, but in letting go? What if peace isn't something to be acquired, but something to be realized as your natural state? This is the core message of the way of Zen. It points towards the illusory nature of separation and encourages a harmonious, non-resistant engagement with life as it unfolds. It reveals that the struggle is often self-imposed, a consequence of our misunderstanding of reality. The feeling of being disconnected from the natural flow of existence is precisely what fuels this endless pursuit. When we perceive ourselves as an isolated island, we feel compelled to build defenses, to hoard resources, to constantly fight for our survival. This mindset fosters a pervasive sense of fear and anxiety, making true peace seem like a distant dream. But this perception of isolation is precisely the illusion that Zen seeks to dismantle. True peace, therefore, isn't about the absence of challenges. Life will always present difficulties and changes. Rather, it's about our relationship to these challenges. When we recognize our deep interconnectedness, our interdependent nature with all things, challenges transform from obstacles to be overcome into expressions of the unfolding flow of suchness. They become opportunities to respond with fluidity and wisdom rather than rigid resistance. Imagine a surfer riding a powerful wave. They don't fight the wave, they become one with it. They understand its power, its direction, and they move with it. They are in a state of harmonious, non-resistant engagement. This isn't passivity, it's a dynamic responsiveness, an intelligent alignment with the forces at play. This is precisely the kind of engagement that arises when we transcend the illusion of the separate ego. This doesn't mean you stop caring or stop striving for positive change. Instead, your actions become more effective because they are rooted in a deeper understanding of reality. Your efforts are no longer born from fear or the need to prove yourself. They emerge from a place of natural responsiveness, a desire to participate skillfully in the grand dance of existence. It's an effortless effort, a striving that is infused with peace. The liberation from the struggling ego is a profound journey into freedom. It's the freedom from the constant burden of self-critique, from the relentless need to be better. It's the freedom to simply be, to fully inhabit each moment as it arises, knowing that you are already complete, already part of the unfolding of suchness. This realization reveals the true nature of peace. It's not something you gain, but something you rediscover. So how do we begin to experience this liberating shift? It starts with presence. It starts with gently bringing your awareness to the present moment, observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Notice when the mind begins to create separation, to label things as good or bad, to define you against them. By simply observing, you begin to loosen the grip of the illusion. This journey is about trust. Trusting in the inherent flow of existence, trusting in your own capacity to respond to life with grace. It's about cultivating an open, receptive heart that embraces all of life, not just the parts that fit our preconceived notions. This profound shift from resistance to non-resistant engagement is the essence of true living, a path where peace is not a destination, but the very ground beneath your feet. As you continue this exploration, remember that this understanding is not merely intellectual, it's experiential. It's about feeling the interdependent nature of reality in your bones, in your breath, in every interaction. It's about letting go of the struggle and allowing yourself to be carried by the flow of suchness. If you've found resonance with these ideas, I invite you to explore further. We have a comprehensive ebook, The Effortless Way, Living in Harmony with Suchness, available for download. You can find the link in the pinned comment below. It offers practical exercises and deeper insights to guide your journey. Take a moment now to reflect. Where in your life do you feel this struggle, this sense of being a separate ego? What might it feel like to gently release that grip? Share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. Your insights enrich this shared journey. Let's continue to explore this path together, moving from the illusion of separation to the peace of boundless interconnectedness. As we draw our journey to a close, let's reflect on the profound shift we've explored. We began by acknowledging that pervasive feeling, that subtle unease of being a separate ego, struggling against the currents of life. It's a common human experience, isn't it? This sense of disconnect often fuels anxiety, a relentless striving, and a persistent feeling of not quite being enough. We've seen how this illusion of separation leads us to perceive life as a series of battles to be won, rather than a magnificent dance to be joined. But what if this feeling of struggle is fundamentally a misunderstanding? What if the very act of trying to control life, of grasping rigidly onto our individual identity, is what generates so much of our suffering? We've delved into the wisdom that suggests reality isn't fragmented, but a seamless, flowing, interdependent nature. This concept, often called the Tao or Suchness, reveals that everything is intimately connected, arising in relation to everything else. You are not an isolated island. You are a unique, intricate wave within the boundless ocean of existence. The core realization we've unearthed is the illusory nature of separation. The boundaries we perceive between ourselves and the world, between you and life, are largely mental constructs. They are habits of thought and language that, while useful for navigation, obscure the deeper truth of our interconnectedness. When we begin to truly see this, to feel this interdependent reality in our bones, a profound shift occurs. The burden of being a struggling, isolated ego begins to lift. This recognition doesn't advocate for passivity or inaction, quite the opposite. It invites us into a state of harmonious, non-resistant engagement. Imagine the skilled martial artist who doesn't fight their opponent's force but flows with it, redirecting its energy. Or the masterful musician who doesn't wrestle with their instrument but becomes one with the music, allowing it to flow through them. This is the essence of aligning with suchness. Our actions become more effective, more graceful, and less exhausting because they are no longer born from fear or the need to force outcomes. They arise naturally, spontaneously, in response to the moment. The true liberation lies in realizing that the peace and contentment we so often seek are not external acquisitions. They are not destinations to be reached after countless struggles. Instead, they are the very ground of our being, obscured only by the illusion of separation. When we release the grip of the struggling ego, when we surrender to the inherent flow of existence, we rediscover a profound sense of ease and belonging. We find that we are already whole, already complete, already an integral part of the grand symphony of life. This journey is not about fixing something that's broken within you, for nothing is broken. It's about remembering what you've perhaps forgotten, your profound, undeniable connection to everything. It's about shedding the heavy armor of the separate self and allowing your true nature, which is limitless and interconnected, to shine through. This reorientation towards the way of Zen is a path to a life lived with greater authenticity, deeper presence, and an effortless engagement that transforms struggle into graceful participation. This perspective offers an invitation to live with an open heart, embracing all of life's unfolding with wisdom and responsiveness. It's about cultivating an inner stillness that allows you to move dynamically with the currents rather than fighting against them. The peace you seek isn't out there, it's within the recognition of your own unfolding suchness. If these words have resonated with you and you feel a yearning for deeper exploration, I encourage you to delve further into these profound insights. Our comprehensive ebook, The Effortless Way, Living in Harmony with Suchness, is designed to guide you through practical exercises and offer deeper philosophical insights. You can find the link to download your copy in the pinned comment below. It's a resource crafted to help you cultivate this harmonious, non-resistant engagement in your daily life. What aspect of this discussion has most deeply shifted your perspective today? Where do you feel the most clarity or inspiration to begin releasing the illusion of separation in your own life? Please share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation and support each other on this liberating path. Your insights are invaluable to this shared journey of understanding and living in alignment with the flowing, interdependent nature of reality. Thank you for joining me on this profound exploration.